Okay, my name is Carlton Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director for Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. Today is January 25th, 2023. We are at Riviera Beach Preparatory Achievement Academy in Riviera Beach, Florida. I have four of my students with me. I've got Felix, I have Calviana, Andre, and Keegan. And Miss, what is your name?
Tennille DeCoste,
Okay. And Tennille, I'm not really familiar with your background. Where were you born?
Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, all right. So you're a transplant like I am. How long have you lived in Florida?
20 plus years.
Oh, so you've been here for a couple of decades.
Yes.
And where did you graduate college?
Barry University in Miami, Florida.
And what do we have a degree in? How many degrees?
I have 2 degrees, bachelor's in public administration with a certification in human resources and a master's in human resources. I am the president of the Palm Beach County Democratic Black Caucus. It's going on a year and a half. Prior to that, in Broward County, I was the president of the Women's Club, Democratic Women's Club, and prior to that, I was the secretary for Broward County Black Caucus Democratic. So I'm heavily into the community, and I feel like when we ignore certain races or we ignore certain people with different backgrounds, I want to make sure I have a voice to change that. It doesn't matter if you're black, brown, Caucasian, if you're educated, not educated. It shouldn't even matter if you're Republican, Democratic, or Independent. That's why I decided to run for the president of Palm Beach County Black Caucus. It's horrible. We need to stop. We shouldn't be fighting against each other. We should be coming together as one force and helping each other. It's already bad enough, the same race, black on black, since we're talking about that we're killing each other. It's bad that we are struggling together to get different opportunities. We're not given the same opportunities as others are. So the black on black fight against each other and killing each other needs to stop. Okay. We just really need to come together, because my son is a survivor of the Parkland shooting.
Right.
And talk about PTSD, it's horrible. He's not the same son that I raised for the past 18 years since the shooting, and he lost one of his close friends, Joaquin Oliver, due to that shooting. He was a senior, 18 years old. He's 23 now. Even though my daughter was homeschooled at that time, due to her medical condition, it affected her. And she wasn't even after school because her brother was missing for 5 hours. We didn't know what's going on. My daughter's 22. We see across the country about, we're killing each other, black on black, or we're having all these crazy school shootings. You can't go to the movies, you can't go to church, you can't go to the store. It's getting out of hand. We have to stop talking about it and take action. And that means we have to hold the people in office accountable, and that's our congressmen, women, and president, and our senators, and so forth. It starts at the top. It starts locally as well, but we need to come together as a community. I know the Black Caucus is putting together a Stop of Violence, gun violence, in different communities. And unfortunately, we do have our young kids that are growing up in those communities that don't have the resources, don't have the help, don't have the opportunities that I have had growing up in New York. And they're affected by it. They fall into the wrong crowd. They persuasion, and it's hard for them. So we need to stop talking about and actually take action. And that is getting into the community, stopping, talking to your police officers. The PD needs to be well informed in the community, that they're not there to hurt, they're there to help, and so forth. Just to get my son some help, thank God I know a lot of people, and I work in the government, but what about those who don't have the same access as I do? I don't believe that at all. Thank God the university he attends, they have, especially because a lot of Stoneman Douglas students go to this university, they have the mental health opportunities there, but we need more mental health opportunities inside the community. We need to have that one location that if you're dealing with something, or call this number, come to this location. Because unfortunately, we have our young children killing themselves because they don't know how to deal with the stress or the PTSD that they're dealing with. I lived in a city in Broward County, and my son played baseball. My son is 6'4" now, and he was the only black kid on the baseball team, and one of the kids called him a nigger. And I was like, wow. They don't just know it off their top of the head to call a black person a nigger. It's because what their parents are teaching them, or maybe their friends that they're around. So my son has been called a nigger. When I was running for office, I was running for school board after the shooting, I was told because of my color, I shouldn't be running for office. This is not a seat for you because you're not the right color. But you have to understand, I raised my children in a community that is majority Caucasian, and I had more opportunities for them because I wanted my children to have the best opportunities they can have, whether if I was paying $1 million a month for a mortgage or $500 for a mortgage. I just want to make sure my children had the best opportunity. Listen, if you want to have a gun, it's your choice. But I think there should be laws in place that checks your mental health, that if you have a mental condition that you shouldn't be allowed to have a gun. Regardless, if we have every law in place, if they really want to find a gun, they're going to get a gun, unfortunately. I think we need to have more community buybacks or givebacks of your gun. Bring a gun, no questions asked, drop it off, we'll give you a $100 gift card, or we'll give you this. We need more of those. I'm in belief that you have a right to protect yourself. I'm in belief you're allowed to have a gun if you choose to, but you have to make sure you go through the right processes. No, arrest, no domestic violence, no mental illness, that sort of thing, because that, especially in background checks.
Right.
The Parkland shooter obviously had a mental issue. For him to wake up on Valentine's Day and just say, hey, I'm gonna go kill everybody, but in my opinion, he planned it well before Valentine's Day. So mental health is very important, and background checks. Woman's choice, this is my body. No man, no woman, nobody makes that decision if I want to abort my child or keep my child. I have my own beliefs because of the God that I serve, but I think it should be a woman's choice if they choose to get an abortion or not, especially if they were raped and they became pregnant because maybe they're living in a household that there's incest, that their uncle's raping them every night, and now they're pregnant. I think you should have a choice. Do I believe in it? I believe that you are in charge of your body and you make that decision. I think we're failing our children in some areas in education. To not be allowed to talk about our history as African Americans, that is absolutely ridiculous. It's history. What we went through, our ancestors went through, I think our children should know what happens, just like Caucasians or Jewish know about what happened to the Jews, which is horrible what happened to them. So in fairness, it should be equal across. Our children should know the history, because I know my grandchildren are going to know what's going on, what history. If they're not being taught that in school, I know I'm going to teach them that, because I don't want them to grow up and not know this history, and it did happen on both sides. Critical race theory, in my opinion, because I'm not an expert in everything. In my opinion, if you're going to tell a school, a university, or any teacher, or whatever the case may be, that you may not teach anything about history, whether it's African Americans, whether it's slavery, whether it's the Jews, whether it's anything, the Hispanics and Mexicans, whatever it is, in my opinion, that's absolute discrimination that we're opening to all schools, universities, and everything else. So that's my opinion. That's what my thoughts are about it.